Welcome back to Center Stage. We continue our roundtable, Dateline NBC, under the microscope here on Center Stage. Of course, I guess Bertram Max, Tony Matley, and Deidre Bounds. Tony, I know you were talking about
a social media uprising. And again, think about the Obama campaign. Remember, and you and I had this conversation before Super Tuesday, and some noted media people in this market said to me, he'll be out of the race, talking about Obama, after Super Tuesday, because they slept on the social media component and the fundraising that he was able to do. And I think you can, it seems like a pipe dream, but Detroit, if you care about the city, you are in a position, I'm in a position to start a social media campaign that talks about places to shop, things to do, people that are doing things. I know it professionally, there are stories and things that I've covered for people in Brightmoor who are educating kids and doing after school programs and kids wearing uniforms and beautifying the community, and white people from the suburbs who come to work in that program and have decided to live in the city, live in Brightmoor. Okay? And yeah, when you go to that place and you look across the street, there are people with guns and selling drugs. But you know what? Those other people are making a difference. And so those stories are out there, but we have to tell them.
Right. I like that. That's actually a very powerful concept. And also, along with that concept, we have to change paradigms in how we engage with police. I mean, we have to get rid of this snitch mentality. And I think that social networking concept, social media campaign can help to galvanize the community around these kinds of themes. That's the kind of out-of-box thinking that has to happen in Detroit. And that's what the point we need to make very, very clearly. We do not accept mediocrity in education. We do not accept high levels of crime and violence. We do not accept dilapidated buildings and dangerous conditions of our buildings. We do not accept it. That is not normal to us, and we are changing our paradigm. And we have to allow for bold change to occur, even if we don't necessarily agree with all of it. Right. We still have to say this is bold change, and we want it to occur. And I think that's an absolutely brilliant concept to wage a social media campaign about the positives of Detroit, and you can come to Indian Village and I'll start it.
One of the things that we've talked about in this, and Deidre, you can chime in here, is just in terms of what kind of reaction are we going to perhaps look forward to from different stakeholders in the community? Because, for instance, you're an investor and you're traveling to New York, trying to cut a deal to host a conference here in Detroit or to host some event, and then this special airs. I mean, it just like your leg is cut from the under. Right. And so I guess, what do you expect, Deidre, from stakeholders in the community, people who have a stake in this city, and who feel like everything that they've done has been bastardized by this special, and if they're negotiating for something to come to the city, I mean, they basically look like fools. I mean, what can you tell me after, I've seen that NBC Dateline.
Well, you know, again, I think part of this is people have to experience the city to understand everything that is great about it. And if I were talking to a stakeholder who was thinking about having a conference here, and we were in the final stages of that, and then this program showed, I would invite them here, and I would do a road tour, and I would show them firsthand that what they saw was not the totality of the picture.
And there are places in Detroit, and I know this, I was somewhere downtown, looked away, looking for a building, and I looked up and I was in a campus marches there. It was in the spring, and the tables were out, and I thought I was in Paris. Absolutely. There are places in Detroit that will blow your mind.
Absolutely.
So yes, but we don't talk about that.
But the thing about it is, those people are planning events. People are planning family reunions. There are all kinds of things that are happening here, and they were happening before the story, and I do believe that they're going to happen even after the story.
But here's the deal, though. We can talk about Dateline NBC all we want. I mean, Chris Hansen is somewhere in New York.
Right.
He's gone. But what role do we, I think, the local media here, because one of the things that I believe is that some of this information that we see as nationally is fed by what it's in the pages of the Chronicle, the Free Press, the News, and so forth. So I guess, how do you juxtapose what NBC Dateline Special did to what ought to happen as far as local media is concerned, because we are also stakeholders.
I saw the former mayor's hearing the other day, and you know what? Honestly, I just thought, man, enough of that. It's nothing against him or whatever. Let that case be. why is it just still the front page? I mean, it's so tired. It has really no bearing on what we're going to do today and into the future. And we just can't move on. And I think that that's the problem. We've got to be able to move on. And so, I mean, there are other things that are going on. There are other agendas, the deficit that the city is suffering, the decline in revenue sharing from the state, whether or not we can get federal money, create a sense of a federal mandate to rectify what's gone on in Detroit, to talk about how outer ring suburbs were built purposefully with federal dollars. They built the roads, they built the water systems. All those things have undermined, and the decline of Detroit started after World War II.
Bertram?
Yes. I think that what we have to do is there's so many distractions going on in Detroit, but I really like Deidre's concept. It's that we have to have committed ambassadors who are willing to show the best of this city to anyone who's listening. I really think that this is an excellent opportunity for us to lure a big block retailer right now. We need that. And we can get that if we have the right ambassador showing the right things about Detroit.
Right.
I mean, I say it over and over again. We live in a world-class neighborhood. Indian Village is probably one of the best neighborhoods in the country, in the world.
Right.
And we get admirers from all over the world who look at this neighborhood. And that's a jewel that we have to promote. We have to promote the good things about Detroit and de-emphasize the nonsense. But at the same time, we cannot ignore and accept as normal some of the things that are happening.
I think that's a responsibility as black men that we have. We go
black men, black women, the faith
but
community,
I'm saying, but
the
I
business
mean,
community.
when the neighborhood where I grew up on 7 Mile Lodge area, and you can't walk in and out of a store without hustlers and knuckleheads. That's a problem.
Right.
And we accept that.
Deirdre, I give you the last word.
I actually had an opposite reaction to Kwame's, day in court, because I think that we need a reminder that we made the right decision in ousting, switching up this council and electing a new mayor. We made the right decision.
But we tabled accountability while he was in office, and that was the problem. I mean, we excused a lot of silly things.
I gotta go. Thank you very much, Deidre Barnes from Brogan and Partners, Emmy Award-winning television producer Tony Martley, and Bertram Marks from the Detroit Council of Baptist Ministers. I'm Bankole Thompson, and this was Center Stage on WADL TV 38 Detroit. We'll be back.